Forum is starting a residential program and specifically designed for those students who didn't clear prelims earlier. At that moment, I felt that this program is tailor-made for you because what you described in that email, it felt like somebody was describing me. Fortunately, sir, I cleared prelims. And then, sir, the same schedule for mains, FRC 4 started at the same place. And again, I made the same promise. चाहे वो AWFG का टेस्ट हो या SFG का हो या करंट अफेयर्स की क्लास हो, I'll do it. सब कुछ करूँगा जैसा जैसा मुझे बताया जा रहा है. And fortunately, it worked again. Then I stayed there for interview also. And fortunately, I got the rank.
तो फोरम तो एट लेटर स्टेज आया, बट आई बिलीव अगर मेरे पास फोरम की गाइडेंस अगर पहले होती और FRC की गाइडेंस पहले होती तो शायद इतना लंबा टाइम मुझे वेट नहीं करना पड़ता.
मेल आया था FRC का, तो मेरे को अच्छा लगा कि जो सेटअप था वो अच्छा था कि जैसे 11th-12th में पढ़ते थे ना कि जबरदस्ती पढ़ाया जाएगा, वो था. तो मैंने कहा ये तो बेस्ट है. अगर ये पहले होता तो काफ़ी अच्छा हो जाता, तो मतलब इतना टाइम नहीं लगता.
And before coming to FRC, literally there was a lot of broken confidence and I thought I would never be able to clear pre. This is the biggest hurdle of my life. But then ever since December, things changed and I just followed the plan to the hilt. Gave every test, even the open test, all the simulators, the CSAT simulators also. It was for the first time that I cleared the prelims, I cleared the mains, and then I cleared the interview and finally got a job under Government of India. I was a part of FRC 1 and FRC 4. So I think FRC played an instrumental role in making me what I am today.
So first, many congratulations to all of you who have cleared the prelims. Let us give them a big hand.
I subscribed to the second level of SFG. I think I told you, sir. I had gotten to know about sir from a very close friend, which was honestly like my paradigmatic change, if you will call it, towards prelims preparation came when I heard sir speak on prelims.
मेरा नाम डॉक्टर आकांक्षा सिंह है. मैं गाज़ीपुर ज़िले से रहने वाली हूँ. मैं ऐसे पेशे से डॉक्टर हूँ. मैंने MBBS और मास्टर्स कर रखी है. मैं गायनोकोलॉजिस्ट हूँ. ये मेरा सेकंड अटैम्प्ट था जिसमें मेरी 301 रैंक आई है UPSC CSAT 2025 में.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, wonderful. Yes, so how many days are left for the prelims examination? 11 days or 10 days, some hours. So 24th May, right? Yes, by 5 p.m. Wonderful. So I just wanted to meet one last time before the prelims, so as to repeat what has already been said multiple times before, but then I want you to also take notes. I also want you to make a summary of, so when we have met earlier, we have talked about that if you're very stressed, please write a journal. My expectation is that some of you may have started writing some journals. Otherwise, it's very difficult to maintain a good, strong, nerves of steel in the last days. Second is that after every test, it is expected that you should write some reflections. जो भी आपने in your journals or reflections you have written, or your key learnings have been after every test as to what you should be doing in attempting the test, that must be written in a small piece of paper and you have to carry it in the exam hall and then throw it outside, not just take it inside. That's one thing that I want. Similarly, from today's class, I want you to take short notes, and whatever you want to say to yourself before the examination, please read it and go. I'm saying this because every year I find students who do that and they've said that, their natural personality is something that inhibits their own success. One being that they have worked very hard, they have studied very hard, but when it comes to the exam, for some reason they lose their cool. So just reading it reaffirms. Alright, so I have some 24 suggestions for you, which I put them here. See, first is that depending on our current, whatever we have done, we would be in any of these three groups. And it's perfectly all right, whatever group we fall in. One of you could be nearly fully prepared. I have used the term near fully prepared because it is not a good idea to say that, oh, I'm fully prepared. Isn't it? I'm always worried when somebody says, sir, I'm fully prepared. Though you should say it to yourself, and it's a good thing. So, near fully prepared. The other is prepared, but there are chinks in the armor, which means that you have your own Achilles heel. You have, we have discussed this chinks in the armor. You know what is chinks in the armor? Weak areas, right? When you wear an armor, it will be made of different parts and there'll be joints in those armors. So if an enemy has to kill you, where does it hit you? Not in the armor, but in the joints. Those are your gaps. So you may have, and it is possible that sometimes you may always have chinks in the armor, and that is no disability in clearing this exam. That is also no disability in winning a war. And then third category where you are not so prepared, but then we have to write the exam because there is a peer pressure, or we do not know any better, or there is a parental pressure. Deep inside, we know which category we fall in, though largely, nearly everybody would think that we are in the second group. Particularly because I was a little amused when, or a little kind of decided to have the session when I got a message from Pralay. He has written the mains, appeared for and he has cleared this exam with a good cutoff, but then he said that I am doing well, but I have not studied this year. I studied a lot last year. I reached 15-20 marks above the cutoff. I was able to do that. But this year I'm not studied. I'm doing well in the tests. So I feel that, is it something wrong? Because confidence doesn't come from a performance, bachalo. Confidence comes a lot from hard work you put. So my suggestion first is to all of you who have already cleared this exam before or studied it very well and have not studied this year because, well, you are already doing well in your SFGs or your simulators or whatever open test you're writing. You have no reasons to worry. But our 1-point strategy for those of you who are doing well without studying, that 1-point strategy is that keep studying for the next 5-6 days, because in the exam hall, why should you study? Why should somebody who's already getting a very good rank without any effort, why should he study right now? Tell me.
To prevent doubts in the actual exam.
Yes, very good. To prevent doubts in the actual exam. Anything else? To be in the zone? Yes. Yes. What happens is, we all are, though we are preparing for civil service, we all are judges. We are opinionated people. You have an opinion about me. 5 minutes into a conversation with you, I will have an opinion about you, even if I do not know you fully. 2 minutes into the paper, you will have an opinion about the paper. 2 minutes into the paper, you will have an opinion about the paper. And then what happens is, if you find the paper to be tough, irrespective of what your preparation is with the paper, which may be very good, if you find the paper to be tough and if you have not studied, my only problem is you're good enough, but you've not studied. Now you think that I'm finding the paper tough and maybe because it is, I have not studied. You don't think that the paper is tough. You think you have not studied. So that's the only reason why I'm asking those of you who are doing well without studying, and that could be a very small number, but still that number is significant. All selected candidates are in that category. They've cleared the exam with a very high margin and still they are worried. 4-5 दिन किसी तरह पढ़ लो. So that when you see the paper, you should not be thinking that, oh, I'm finding the paper tough because I'm not studied. The minute you get some ideas, some stupid ideas like this, then we have a problem. All right. Having said that, a lot of people from the nearly fully prepared category, you will expect that these people will also falter, and there'll be a lot of people from not so prepared group, they will clear this exam. This often happens. So the reason why we are having this session nearly 1 week, 10 days before the prelims exam is ki bachcha log, those of you who have been here, who have been consistently showing up, I want to tell you, please, the only thing that you need right now is confidence and faith in yourself. Now, as I said before, that your confidence is going to be a fleeting thing. You will be high on confidence and then there's low on confidence and again high. Is this happening already? अभी लग रहा है हो जाएगा और उसके बाद लग रहा है नहीं होगा. you will have this problem. So you cannot have confidence. You can have faith. You have to have faith, a bit of faith in the hard work that you put, and a bit of faith in the gods above. You will have to have that faith. I often see, and this is particularly, especially for women candidates, we see that you study hard, sometimes harder than the boys. But what happens is, when the exam comes, you are much more scared. लड़कों ने पढ़ाई नहीं की, फिर भी 4 लड़के सेंटर के बाहर घूम रहे हैं, है ना? अरे इस बार तो हो जाएगा. You ask him why? अरे I can predict the paper, 2020 से दे रहा हूँ. एग्जाम में पेपर आता है तो कहता है ये तो PYQ था, तो तुझे कैसे पता 21 में आया था, है ना? तो पूछे अच्छा सॉल्व किया? नहीं सॉल्व किया. क्यों? उस समय भी नहीं सॉल्व कर पाया था, तो नहीं किया. But jokes apart, so this is with the boys super confident, but with the girls, ladies often too worried about, continuously worrying about मेरा होगा या नहीं, continuously trying to predict the future. Please, first advice is please do not try to predict the future. Do not try to predict whether you will clear it or not. I've said this before, I'm repeating, होगा कि नहीं, move to करना है. Change the language in which you talk to yourself. Keep thinking about होगा कि नहीं, and then you are going through highs and lows. Please change that language and move to करना है. The minute you will move to करना, you will know, you will have an action plan. All right. Those of you who are not so prepared, if you at all, you can speak to a mentor. If you ever feel that you are not fully prepared, you want to take a drop, I have only one suggestion for you. Those of you who want to take a drop, please have a year-long plan for what you are going to do. Taking a drop is a big decision. It's not an easy decision. It's always easier to write the exam and not clear it. People will accept it. But saying that I will take a drop, nobody will accept it. Not your teacher, not your mentors, not your parents. You talk about taking a drop, everybody will lose their minds. You say that, okay, I'm not prepared, but I'm writing it, everybody is fine, okay. The exam has a very low selection criteria, it doesn't matter. They're not worried about so much about your failure than to take a drop. But if at all, any of you take a drop, please speak to your mentors and it has to be discussed in person. It cannot be a generic advice whether you should take a drop or not. All right? So this is, coming to some suggestions which I have. What is the exam day strategy from now on for the next 10 days or so? Please do things that increase your confidence. Please do things that increase your confidence. If you feel that not study will increase your confidence, then don't study. Because in the end, as in any competitive sports or in the battlefield, what will matter is how you perform in the battlefield. A knight can be killed by an ordinary soldier in a battlefield. And it has always happened, which is why it is a battle. If the conclusions were so foregone, if the conclusions were so pre-decided, wars would not happen. But wars, competitions, sports happens because conclusions are not pre-decided. What is going to happen in the heat of the moment, that decides the course of and the end result of a war or a competition. So please do things that increase your confidence. If you feel like not studying, don't study. If you feel that you need to keep studying, then please study so that you can keep the voices in your head down. Otherwise, whole day you're not studying and then you're talking to yourself. And the voices in the head are, they're very active right now. Second is that you need to have a good subject-wise planning. See, how many subjects do we have? Polity, eco, modern history, let us say, geography, what else? Environment and ecology, international, ancient and medieval. International relations is a very small subject. It's not largely from the current affairs. It's not a subject, but you can say. See, from these subjects, remember that, which is the most logical subject here? Economy. You may not need to read it just 1 day or 2 days before the exam. So this is the paper. So if you have 10 days left and you have to divide it into 3 days, what are you going to study? In these 3 days, you will prefer studying first economy and second polity. This will fall somewhere. This is the exam day. All right. Polity, first subject that is the farthest from the exam which you can study, so that you never get an opportunity to study again. I repeat. All right. If this is the exam day, and let us say we have 10 days here, then the farthest subject, the subject by which I mean you cannot study everything in the next 10 days. You should try to, you could try to, but everything you cannot. So the subject that you may not need to study, or let us say the subject you need to study, definitely study immediately before 24th May. That will be modern history first. Questions will come from there. If you have not studied it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days before the exam, it will be difficult for you to answer questions. So modern history you have to study either 1 day, 2 days before the exam. Even ancient, medieval, to the best of your abilities, art and culture, all these will fall here. I have said about ancient, medieval and art and culture. Art and culture you will study it on a best effort basis. इतना पढ़ा, PYQs कर लिया, बस इसके ऊपर question if it comes and it is unfamiliar, what will I do? I will leave it. I will not apply my mind to it. कि some mandapam question has come, you have no clue, and then you are thinking and trying to put all the logical guesses that videos have been made. All right, all these guest mastergiry videos will be made once the key is coming, not before the key. Then they will logically correlate it, and they say कि ऐसे ऐसे हुआ है. और ऐसे guest masters जो बनाते देखोगे खुद prelims में नहीं clear करते हैं खुद के. ठीक है? So what it? So this, the subject that can be studied farthest from the prelims is eco will go first. Polity will fall somewhere around here. Polity will fall. Science and tech, not much to remember except maybe biology. है ना? Somewhere around here you will have current affairs. Where should geography go? Yes, geography will go somewhere here. Environment ecology will go after geography. It has to be studied closer to the exam because you will tend to forget more. What else? So I think, so this is the, don't have this habit that you studied this 1 week later and now you are clueless 1 day before the exam. Having said that, you can have clear your own exceptions. For example, 1 or 2 days before the exam, you are just turning the tables of whatever small listicles you have made. You can be doing that for polity economy. If you have some weak areas where you know ki repo rate, reverse repo rate, I always forget, then you'll be turning the pages 1 day before. This is what is expected. All right. And second is, yes, whether to study or not to study. Some students have mailed कि सर पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है. Then I checked his previous history. 6 महीने से एक ही मैसेज भेज रहा है कि पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है. So first I wrote a long mail saying that it is natural that the exam pressure you can't study. But before sent, that Google sent me a message that this person has sent you an email before. Check history. And the minute I checked history, he has said कि बहुत पहले से पढ़ाई नहीं हो रही है. तो फिर मैंने भी मेल वेल डिलीट करके छोड़ा कि फिर रहने तो है ना. But to study or not study, every strategy is the right strategy. If you feel you don't want to study, it's perfectly all right. At least 2-3 days before the exam, if you feel that you're too anxious and you don't want to study. And please don't think that there is one material, one paper, one question or some book from suddenly which 7 questions will come. Nothing like that will happen. The paper will always be very widely distributed across the syllabus. So do not worry about that at all. 1 day before the exam, this is very important. What do you do 1 day before the exam? So just reverse engineer it. What will happen in the examination or what can go wrong in the exam? Only one thing goes wrong in the exam. That you had not slept. 2-3 things can go wrong, but one thing that goes wrong definitely in the exam is that you did not sleep all night long. But chalok, we have worked very hard, and I'm telling you that 50% is all the hard work that you've done, but 50% is the exam day. Depending on which group you are. The first group, for this, the ratio will be very less. For example, 90% is their preparation. Whether they will be, how they will perform in the actual exam will depend on, maybe 10% will depend on the exam day. As we are moving from group 1 to group 2 to group 3, the percentage of exam day factors will increase and our factors will go down. All right. But yes, one day before the exam, so if you do not have proper sleep, what will you do? He still wants to do PYQs, and then you have no more sleep, further no more sleep. First is that please, if you're not, you no matter what, you will need a good sleep that night. Now you may argue that, sir, you have made us have sleepless nights in January, February and March. So the purpose was so that now you don't have sleepless nights. But problem ये है कि उस समय नींद ज़्यादा आती थी, अब नींद नहीं आ रही होगी. The training that was given to you, the purpose was you should sleep less in December, January and February so that you can sleep more now. Secondly, I can sleep peacefully. And so this year from this class, we have a student, Anshuman is there, he has secured 2nd rank. So when I spoke to him, he said, sir, I was consistently several times your rank 1 in simulators as well as in SFG. I have done every single test and I would be nearly every time I have been top 10. From this class in the offline class mode itself, not from the offline mode. Anshuman is the name of the student, 2nd rank in Forest Service. So I just speaking to him once. So therefore, first thing is for sleep you will do is, please go for a, abhi se decide kar lo, guided meditation ka koi video ya something, so that you start sleeping even right now properly. Some guided meditation. Have you heard of guided meditation? A lot of people may not have. Why? Because they don't know, because they don't have that problem yet. Except it will only happen in the exam day. So guided meditation, you close your eyes and listen to a guided meditation session, and by the time the video falls off, you are already asleep. That's one thing that you will have to figure it right now. Now some of you may think, sir, ये तो बहुत non-significant बातें हैं. I am telling you, ये जो छोटी बातें होती है, यही लास्ट में crucial factor हो जाता है बच्चे. This becomes the most crucial factor. Please make sure that there is seating available for those students. So why I'm saying this is I met a very successful advocate who charged a huge, this was with respect to a case that is going on of service students for which a judgment has come. So I met a very strong advocate. So I thought that I'll just go and sit. Then I came to know the advocate is so hotly demanded that he doesn't speak for 1 minute unless he's paid his consultancy. And I had never had that experience. I never knew that lawyers were so much in demand, or they were such big lawyers. His office was in a basement and the petitioners were some civil services aspirants. So if you have to meet him, his charges for a consultancy per minute will be a very huge sum. And interestingly, you cannot even talk to him on the phone or anything before meeting him. So when I went with a group of students, what happened is that the guard will ask for a demand draft. So when you give the demand draft, you will show it to the advocate, then he will allow the guard, and then he'll come in. And during the course, after charging a bomb, he will say that every single printout, you will have to provide it. It will not be provided in my office. He did not even have a printer in his office. He said that everything has to be borne by the clients. But then when I went there, I saw a very big industrialist sitting there, whom we read about in newspapers. So because he's every minute he was billing like anything, so I was a little scared. So I asked him that, how did you do so well? I mean, the number of cases you're taking, it is insane. And his intern said, who was familiar to us, said that, sir, he doesn't have a life. He comes in the morning and stays till 11 or 12. I thought that I will become an advocate training under him, but I think I also don't have a life now. ये 12-1 बजे तक काम करते हैं, इनका कुछ life है नहीं, है ना? So I asked him, so how did he get? He said, nothing like that. But then what I saw is that to argue his cases, twice a day he was gargling with saline water. A very minuscule thing, a very minute thing. But do you think how relevant it is to his profession? That he is getting paid for every minute he speaks, and he better speak clearly. So he said 2 times a day, and he was not willing to disclose it to me until maybe I saw him do it, and then I asked his intern, he says, yes, this is what he does, but then it is immaterial. I'm telling you that is the most material fact. So I'm telling you, for the day of the examination, what is going to be most significant is going to be your mental state will matter more than your skill set of solving the paper, which will matter more than your knowledge base on which you have been working. I'm so clear about it. in the last week, why we need to meet at all when you have been studying and working on your knowledge base and your skill set is, this is what you will have to, this is the point where we'll be, this is the critical factor in the battle now. It is not your knowledge, it is not your skill sets. I'm telling you right now, people much less knowledgeable than you will beat you. People much less skilled than you at solving a paper will beat you if you are not able to take care of your mental state. All right. First thing is guided meditation. Second is sleep early. How can we sleep early the night before? Is it possible? We will have to do that. How do you sleep early on any day? By ensuring just two things, yes, which we have said before. Don't sleep during that day. You were saying don't take lunch, and the guy doesn't take lunch. Now he is hungry and not able to sleep. तुम राजेंद्र नगर में 200-400 बच्चों को है ना, अब मैं समझ गया, मैं गैंग की बात कर रहा था, सरदार तो यहाँ बैठा है. लंच नहीं लेकर, अच्छा ठीक है. नो सो ना, ही हैज़ अ गुड पॉइंट. ही सेज कि लंच नहीं लो तो हैवी डिनर करोगे तो, लेकिन जब तुम सजेशन देते हो तो एक लाइन बोलकर चले जाते हो. फिर बच्चे जब गड़बड़ाते हैं तो बोलते हैं भैया अगले साल, बोले तुमने पूरी बात नहीं सुनी. आगे बोलने वाला था, ठीक है. सो वेरी गुड, दैट्स वन गुड स्टडी. ही सेड दैट लाइट लंच बट heavy dinner, though it is very difficult for me to officially give this advice, तो ये नहीं दूंगा. It is, but it is a community, these are community advices, not a ForumIAS advice. It's a user contributed advice that have a heavy lunch so that you are, and a light dinner, or no lunch and maybe a dinner so that you feel sleep. But first is don't sleep during the day. The second is rise early the day before. मतलब उठ जाओ 5 बजे 6 बजे, whatever is early by your definition 4 बजे, so that by 9 o'clock your eyes are drooping and you are able to find sleep. Your body is enough tired. I would also recommend that the day before, please take a long walk so that you're physically you are tired and drained, so that you are able to have a good night's sleep. Extremely important. If you are able to do this, my dear friends, you will be winning half the battle. And which half? The half that matters and the half that still has to be done, because the other half you've already won it. You've already been working, you've already been studying, you've won the half the battle. This is extremely important. All right? Then, yes. On the exam day, my advice to you will be that please use, no matter how irrelevant it feels, please use the day before or 2 days before to go and see the exam center, no matter how panicked you are. Every year we will have people who are late to the examination hall, and that number will be more than 20-25 every year from Forum. We will have those people who will give an SOS call that they have not been able to reach the right exam center on the day of the examination. And I'm not talking about prelims. I'm talking about mains. Every year, dozens of people appear to the center late because they did not see the center before, or they did not factor in the logistics before. Now they've gone to the center, they have seen it on Google Maps, and there it is something different. You'll be allocated a government school. I'm sure some of you must have written, in every coaching is now doing it in a government school. It is difficult to locate government schools. They are not commercial coaching centers which will have a big board, which will exactly tell you where they are. When you go there, then you will find that a school exists here. And you've been living here in a decade and you will never know that a school was existing here. You never saw the children, you never saw the school bus. But then suddenly when you go, you write a test. So please, it is not a wastage of time if you're going with a group of friends. And when you go there, don't see it from far. Just go and verify that this is as per. Those of you who are having a center in this area, Gold Market area and all, please be wary of some centers like NP Girls School. किसी को मिला है? Or NP School? Now there will be at least, you will go there to NP Girls School, पता चलेगा ये NP Girls Senior Secondary School है, और NP Girls School इसके पीछे है, but then there is no way to go and it will take you 15 minutes. So every year what will happen is somebody will get this center and then say कि sir I went to the center, I reached 15 minutes before. Then during entry he says कि यहाँ का तो admit card, this not that your center is somewhere else and now it is in a different place. It has happened to several people. Now they have reached late. So make sure that you do not make this mistake. Please see the center. As I said, emotional management, extremely crucial. We do not have too many tools available with respect to emotional management, but I can tell you with the experience of what other people have done, that is, please write journals, write down your thoughts, and then two facets have to be it. One is your emotions and the other is directives to yourself or letter to yourself. Please remember that every time you've written a simulator, the purpose is to put you through a similar stress. If not, though it is never really possible to replicate the exam stress. हालांकि स्ट्रेस्ड हो ही जाते हो सिमुलेटर में भी, रिजल्ट आता है तो बुरा दिन होता है ना, नींद खराब हो जाती है, स्पेशली इफ यू हैव अ बंच ऑफ फ्रेंड्स आल्सो राइटिंग द सेम टेस्ट एंड दे नो योर स्कोर कार्ड, है ना, तो वो दुख ज़्यादा होता है. सो मेक श्योर दैट you do a lot of journaling and write letters, and then one day before the exam, please summarize it in one page and read that before. Those directives will be your exam day strategies, which I will be telling you some of them, but you have to also discover through the several tests you've written. You know, the problem is sometimes it takes people 5 attempts to realize कि PYQ करना था, या 5 attempts to realize कि what mistake you did. After 4 attempts, after writing 3 or 4 attempts, you ask them, what is the mistake you made in your 5th prelims? The guy says, sir, actually I lost my cool by seeing the question paper. I said, what was the truth? He says, sir, paper was not so tough. I realized I had gotten set A, and set A was having all art and culture and ancient medieval questions, and it was my weak area, so I lost my confidence. I said, that is what you've been doing if you've been writing this exam for damn 4 years, this is what you should know. That if you get a paper which looks unfamiliar and you have been preparing for it, then we do is you change the question number. You start solving from 50, 49, 48, or you start solving from 100, 98, 99. You don't waste one UPSC attempt just to figure it out. You should be already doing this. All right. So at this point, please maintain, bachcha log, that your mental state is more important than all the skill set and the knowledge. So anything, person, place, if it takes away your mental peace, please stay away from those things. Also at this point, every problem will look bigger than it appears. You know, every problem. So please ignore anything else that is happening in your life. Please ignore the rest of the universe, everything, and wait till 25th of May. 25 मई के लिए सब कुछ छोड़ दो, बाकी किसी चीज़ से भी बॉग मत जाओ. Some students will have annually the habit of getting into trouble just before the prelims. Then you realize when you see them after 2 or 3 years, then you realize that they did not have the problem, they were the problem. They have the habit of fighting with the landlord or rent issue, बिजली बत्ती पानी, हर चीज़ का इशू उसको कब उठाना है? प्रीलिम्स एग्जाम के पहले. प्रीलिम्स के अगले दिन वो ठीक हो जाता है, उसे किसी लैंडलॉर्ड से कोई ग्रीवेंस नहीं है, लेकिन बिजली बत्ती पानी सड़क मीटर, स्मार्ट मीटर, पीजी मीटर, सबसे उसको मतलब है कब? प्रीलिम्स के पहले. He will, if you don't create a problem, he will import that problem and bring it before the prelims, because so right now, just as I said, in every vehicle mirror it is written that objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. So but here, problems in your immediately before prelims are smaller than they appear. Problems that you're facing on a day-to-day basis are smaller than they appear. These problems for reason will vanish immediately the exam gets over. अभी कोई लैंडलॉर्ड से पंगा नहीं लेना है. वही बच्चे देखूंगा लैंडलॉर्ड से पंगा लिया, अगले दिन प्रीलिम्स खत्म होते के साथ चाय पीने जा रहे हैं उसके साथ. तो प्रीलिम्स अपना खराब करने की सेल्फ सबोटाइज के जोन में नहीं रहिए. Then I have 24 suggestions, or rather 25 suggestions for you, and I will try to do this in the time that has been given to me. Yes, please remember that on the day of the exam, be early at the exam. I'm telling you this, if you try to understand it psychologically, my one point of advice will be, but chalo, you can either be early or you can be late. What time does the exam begin? 9:30. What is the UPSC has said that how many minutes before the exam you have to report? 9. आप अपना timeline रखिए that any time between 8:30 to 8:45 you reach it, no matter what is this. 8:30 to 8:45. What will happen? See, you will never be exactly on time कि 9 पर ही पहुंच रहे हैं. Or at least if you are reaching it, it is not your doing. It is God which has ensured that you reach exactly at 9. That day you are aware that UPSC exam is there. Several other exams in different parts of the country. So that day suddenly for some reason, while Sunday has a low traffic, that day you will find traffic. So if you are reaching exactly on time, it is not that you are very smart, it's just that the gods were not unhappy with you. So you can either reach early or you can late. The correct answer is what? Reach early. You will either reach 15 minutes early or 15 minutes late. Why am I saying this? Bacha, you are going to have an important day of, you've been preparing for some time. You could have n problems. Being late should not be one of them. हाँ, ओला भी नहीं मिलेगा उस दिन. सही कह रहा है. क्यों नहीं मिलेगा? सबको जाना है. और दूसरी बात है कि अभी ट्रैफिक लाइट हो गया है पूरे दिल्ली में. क्यों? माइग्रेशन 2.0 इस पर क्वेश्चन बनेगा. माइग्रेशन 1.0 ड्यूरिंग द कोविड एंड माइग्रेशन 2.0 ड्यूरिंग द ईरान वॉर. सो पीपल कैन नॉट कुक फूड. व्हाट विल दे डू? Early reports used to come that one of the signs is poverty. First reports used to come. One of the ways to measure poverty, several ways are to measure poverty. Earlier you must have read that we used to measure poverty by calorie count. That if you're consuming less calories than this, then you are poor. That was the era of 70s and 80s. Today, calorie count is not a problem. You give them some 2 bottles of Coke and the calorie count is done. So you cannot have that measure. I mean, poor people give them 2 liter का Coke का bottle दे दो, calorie count का take care हो जाएगा. So calorie problem we have solved. Then the second measure was what percentage of income is spent on food. So there was one elite view which says that poor people eat more and therefore they spend more on food. But truly, if you see, it is not that they spend more on food because they are poor. It's just that their incomes are low. So they do not have a disposable income beyond. You have, so इसलिए do not bank on Ola that day. If you're banking on Ola तो एकदम 8, 7:30, 8 बजे का plan रखो. Otherwise, don't be the kid who is coming up with a sob story कि sir, instead of going to the center, the exam center, you are at Forum Center. कि क्या हुआ sir, I could not get an Ola, then I started walking, then I realized कि walk करके तो नहीं होगा, तो फिर यहीं पर आ गए. ये नहीं करना है. जब क्यों आए तो सर देखा हुआ यही था. एग्जाम सेंटर भी नहीं देखा हुआ था लेकिन गूगल में ज़्यादा डिस्टेंस बता रहा था. सो प्लान इट अकॉर्डिंगली, प्लान योर ट्रैवल अकॉर्डिंगली. ऑल्सो आई ऑल्सो वॉन्ट टू टेल यू कि दैट डे इज गोइंग टू बी, you have to do everything that does not increase your stress. It's not simply because it's not worth it. Reaching half an hour is better than being stressed about it. For the simple reason is that if at 8:30 a.m. if you are not at the center, then no matter where you are, 8:30 बजे सेंटर पे नहीं हो, चाहे कितना भी करीब सेंटर है. किसी ने कह दिया कि शंकर रोड क्रॉस किया, सेंटर वहीं पर है, 8:30 बजे अपने रूम में हो, दिख भी रहा है सेंटर दूर से, लेकिन जब तक यू हैव नॉट एंटर्ड इट एंड इफ यू आर नॉट देयर आउटसाइड, देन बीट्स पर मिनट विल गो अबव 150, हार्ट बीट हाई रहेगी. एंड आई एम सेइंग दिस सो दैट यू नो व्हाई आई एम आस्किंग यू टू बी अर्ली. एंड फ्रॉम 8:30 to 9 you will have major heart attack chances. It is not worth it. इससे बढ़िया सेंटर पर पहुंच के डीप ब्रीदिंग कर लेंगे, ज़्यादा आसान है. बट वो स्ट्रेस में नहीं रहना है कि देख रहे हैं कि भैया जल्दी ऑटो चलाओ, है ना, धन्नो जल्दी चल. डोंट बी इन दैट फेज दैट यू आर बीटिंग कैब ड्राइवर पे चढ़े हुए हो कि और तेज चलाओ और तेज चलाओ. इट्स नॉट वर्थ इट. यू विल बी अंडर मैसिव ड्यूरेस. अदर इज, आई लर्न दिस फ्रॉम वन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स. I was having a talk with just a general, mentorship session with one girl, and I asked her, where are you from? She said, sir, I'm from IIT Kanpur. I realized the first student from IIT Kanpur was one Pratyush Pandey, very bright kid. So I was sitting alone. He was taking a class. I said that, why don't you share your journey on the whiteboard? Those days, there were not so many topper talks. So I was sitting because I wanted to hear him. So I said, didn't you feel it was your first attempt? Didn't you feel कि यार तैयारी तो उतनी अच्छी नहीं होगी? My preparation would not be so good. So I had asked this question. So he said, sir, we removed sir from the statement in the video. So he said something nice, that if I think that my preparation is not so good, there are people who are preparing for this exam for so many years, then I've already lost the battle. If I'm going to fight a battle, I better assume I'm the best swordsman, even if we are not the best swordsman. है ना? तो अपने एक तो ओला ड्राइवर को ही बोल देना, भैया आप तो सबसे फास्टेस्ट ड्राइवर हो एनसीआर के, चाहे वो सेकंड गियर में गाड़ी क्यों ना चला रहा हो. इवन इज नॉट द फास्टेस्ट, यू हैव टू टेल हिम ही इज द फास्टेस्ट. देयर इज नो पॉइंट बीइंग Similarly, please focus on what you have done. Don't keep worrying about what you have not done. कि प्रेस इन इंडिया मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री स्पेक्ट्रम के पीछे वाला नहीं पढ़ा कि इवोल्यूशन ऑफ प्रेस, वही सोच रहे हैं कि वहीं से इस बार क्वेश्चन आ गया। और यूट्यूब पे वीडियोस देखोगे तो वीडियो तो बनाएंगे कि 50 क्वेश्चन यहाँ से गारंटीड आएंगे। So please focus on what you have done. Then next is, this is extremely important in the examination when you reach the center. To talk or not to talk, that is in your hands. But if you do not have any clarity, if you are the one who are easily intimidated by others, it is advisable that don't talk to anyone at the exam center. Please get inside the zone. Now some of you may have this problem that, sir, if I don't talk, I'd feel less confident. Then find someone कि किसको fail कराना है, उसके साथ जाकर उसको बोलो ओला राइड मैं स्पॉन्सर कर रहा हूँ, तेरे बगल में मैं बैठूंगा, लंच ब्रेक होगा तो पैटी और चाय मेरी तरफ से होगा, उसको फेल करा दो और लगातार उससे बाद अपना कॉन्फिडेंस होगा, उसका रिजल्ट जो हुआ सो हुआ। अगर कोई ऐसा तुम्हारे साथ कर रहा है तो पैटी चाय के पैसे देने बेटर हैं, कोई फ्री में भी कराए तो ज़्यादा, ऐसे लोगों से बच के रहिए, डिपेंडिंग ऑन विच ग्रुप। सो बोथ ऑफ यू आर माई स्टूडेंट्स, सो हैव टू गिव राय टू बोथ ऑफ यू, है ना। कौरवों को भी बताना है, पांडवों को भी बताना है कि लड़ाई कैसे लड़नी है। रिजल्ट मुझे पता है लेकिन बताना है। सो इफ यू आर द क्वाइट काइंड्स, यू नीड योर पीस ऑफ माइंड, प्लीज डोंट टॉक टू एनीवन, नॉट इवन टू पेरेंट्स। एक बार सुबह बात कर लेना, बोल देना, मैसेज पे बात कर लेना, बिकॉज नो नीड टू हियर द शेकिंग वॉइस ऑफ योर मदर, इट इज़ नॉट गोइंग टू डू एनीथिंग गुड। वो सबको और परेशानी और दुख होगा और कुछ नहीं होने वाला है। तो बोलना मम्मी मैं रात में बात कर ली हूँ, सुबह एक बार बेस्ट ऑफ लक। अदरवाइज द टोन ऑफ योर पेरेंट्स वॉइस दैट इटसेल्फ विल पुट यू इनटू हाफ स्ट्रेस। बहुत आराम से उस दिन हमें बताना है। All right. So with this talking versus not talking, my advice to you is please do not talk. Then please carry a list of directives that you have made for yourself. Write a letter to yourself 10 पन्ने का, मतलब एक पन्ने का, which you are having 7 or 8, which are your guidelines that this is I must keep in mind before marking. Such as, for example, you read that if you are knowing that answer, don't overthink. You have already decided this, but what happens? You have not written it down. And then you go and you exactly do the same thing कि पहले ही क्वेश्चन में ओवरथिंक कर रहे हैं कि पहला क्वेश्चन इतना आसान तो नहीं होगा। तो ये आप whatever is applicable to you, please take it down and throw it in the outside. Next is, do not be your own judge in the paper. Don't try to immediately evaluate whether the paper is tough or easy. Every year, a lot of irresponsible teachers and mentors, they will make video that my prediction is that this question will come, my prediction is that paper will be tough and paper will be easy. And tens of thousands of students fail every year. For the simple reason is, you don't have to fully believe in me to do that. If you simply hear from me, I just have to poison your mind with one idea. I can tell you, for example, I say to someone that the paper is going to be tough. Now, what is the problem? Even if you heard this thing from, you feel that with even little credibility, or forget the credibility. On the internet, how is the credibility decided? Number of views. Now you say कि इसके तो 2 लाख views हैं और उसने कह दिया है कि पेपर टफ है. What is the problem with this approach? Now the paper is easy. Every time you're solving the question, you're saying कि उस वीडियो में कहा था कि पेपर टफ है और वो मेंटर के तो 2 लाख व्यूज रहते हैं और 20,000 तो लाइक रहते हैं उसके, और फायर वाला कमेंट्स में वो कैसे टाइप होता है, खुद ऑटो सजेस्ट में आता है या तुम लोग बनाते हो उसको कहीं से? मैं देखता हूँ आजकल कमेंट्स में फायर वाला बच्चे टाइप करते हैं, अब मुझे पता ही नहीं कहाँ से वो आता है। हाँ, इमोजीज जो होते हैं, फायर मतलब वीडियो के नीचे कमेंट में फायर वो वाला रहता है। नाउ व्हाट इज माई प्रॉब्लम विद सच वीडियोज? आई डोंट हैव anything personal, but what I feel is my student who has watched that video 2 days before the exam with n number of techniques that says that my prediction is that paper will be tough or easy, whatever you say. Now the student is finding the paper easy. First is it has no correlation with what the actual paper will be. First is there is no correlation. But what happens is you are not having an independent, you are going by कि I am finding it easy, but that person said tough, let me not mark it. कोई trap होगा. Whole time you are thinking this. And you check videos of popular channels that have risen in the past 2-3 years, they have done this multiple with no credibility, where they said that the paper will be tough and the paper has come easy, and when they have said the paper, it has exactly happened opposite what they have said. Not because of that, but there was also a misinterpretation, because anyone with some experience of at least 7-8 years or 5-7 years will be able to tell कि पेपर आसान होगा टफ होगा, वो लगभग प्रेडिक्ट हो जाता है। आप भी कर लोगे, आपको समझ में आ जाएगा, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द थॉट प्रोसेस, स्पेशली विद रिस्पेक्ट टू CSAT, you will know that. But then first is that they made the prediction also wrong. which was not correct even at that time by common logic. Second is, even if you are able to predict, you should not do that. So please do not go with any preconceived notion कि paper no mental कि paper इस बार आसान होगा, paper इस बार, because the minute what happens is somebody says paper is going to be easy. Now you are finding it tough and then you are doubting yourself. Please stop the voices in your head. Do not be your own judge. Remember, and please write it down somewhere, which I have asked you to write before. Plus write it down in your minds, if not on a piece of paper. The paper is never as tough as it first looks. And the paper is not as easy as it looks first. I'm telling you, you guys are the top performers in CSAT in the country. You will be. In GS and CSAT, in prelims in the country as of now, because you put a lot of SFG करने के बाद आपका level रहेगा ऊपर. आप में से बच्चों आप सबके नंबर आ जाएंगे अच्छे खासे. But what sometimes I'm worried is that if the paper comes too easy, and then you have this assessment that paper is too easy, then please, if you have that assessment and you're jumping with joy, don't do frivolous marking कि ऐसे करके mark किए जा रहे हैं. And then you realize कि sir, I was very less calculated. So you neither have to be too confident, not to be underconfident. Just appropriately see every question as it comes. Next, please make sure that you don't carry the baggage of previous question into the next one. Every question is independent. The commission will generally ask after a complex 2-3 questions, a very fuddu question will be given. बिल्कुल आसान, जिसको देखकर लगेगा ये question, they have been able to set it by galti, by mistake they have set this question. How comes this question? Now the problem is that you have a convoluted thinking after solving 2-3 questions which are very complex. So it is difficult for you to accept an easy question. But remember, that is how the paper setting format is there, that after a few convoluted questions that continuously question your mind, you will have one question which comes out of nowhere and is very simple. Please take it on the face value itself. Don't overthink and analyze and think, no, it is having some hidden. No. Remember, judge the statement by what it tries to say. Second is, whenever you have to judge the validity of a statement, I've said this before, it may not apply to test papers, but when you have to check the of a statement, please don't make one common mistake of, what I say is that, please check if the statement is generally valid. Can you broadly say that it is true? Generally valid or broadly say that it is true. Any statement if you see, if you can broadly say that it's true, then take it as a true statement. Say, or the other is, you negate the statement. You negate the statement. And then you say, if negating the statement, does it make it correct? You say, no, it does not make it correct. Then, if the negated statement does not make it correct, then the previous statement was correct. All right. Use these tools to avoid any sort of overthinking. Yes. One more thing, that how many of you are going to write your first prelims this year? First prelims. This is especially for those of you. Please don't have this habit of marking after 1.5 hours. अपने घड़ी में बिल्कुल टाइम सेट करके करना है कि एनी टाइम बाय 50 minutes and before 60 minutes, around 50 to 60 minutes, please start marking the OMR bubble. At least some bubbles you must have put. Every year, I would say at least 1 in 50 candidates who's rejected will be rejected because they decided that they will do the OMR in the end. And last, they thought that they will do it after 1.5 hours. Now what happened is, they were not able to do it in 1.5 hours. It reached 1 hour and 45 minutes. अब वो डर के bubbles कर रहे हैं. And then what happens is they miss the sequence. 24 का bubble कर दिया 25 में. And then after that is a downhill journey. 26 का 27 में और 30 तक वैसे ही they've ruined the sequence. Please bubble, and you may say, but sir, I want to do it in the end. Even if you want to do in the end, इसका शिलान्यास कर देना कम से कम 50-60 मिनट पे. The शुभ मुहूर्त तो बबलिंग का OMR का कर देना कि 5 क्वेश्चन जो आते हैं, so that you have put your pen mark on the OMR sheet after 50-60 minutes. One thing that you have to make sure also is that after every half an hour, see where you stand. So for example, in GS paper, we have 100 questions. So every half an hour, how many questions we should be solving? 25. So every half an hour or 15 minutes around, how much questions we should be doing? Half an hour पे कितने 25 क्वेश्चन, राइट? तो 15 मिनट्स में कितने होने चाहिए? बिल्कुल 12:30 भी मत बोलो, 13, 14, 15 ही रख लो. इसे 12:30 थोड़ा सा, अरे इट इज गोइंग टू बी योर फर्स्ट आइटरेशन, यू विल बी बेटर फास्ट, राइट? सो हैव दिस कि भाई इन 15 minutes you should be anywhere around 15 questions. Because if you don't follow this, then what happens? Some students at the end of 60 minutes, they realize that they've only reached till question number 32. Not 50. 50 पे तो problem नहीं है. Reach 33, 32. Then there's a problem. So instead of solving the paper contest, they have made it a speed contest. You have just made it a speed contest for yourself. The paper is trying to test your problem solving skills. You have made it into a speed contest. So make sure that you're bubbling. Anyone who bubbles in the end, बताओ अभी अपनी habit. एकदम लास्ट में बबल करते हो. रीजन? हाँ, क्या है? फ्लो नहीं तोड़ना इंपॉर्टेंट है, बट देर इज अ ह्यूज रिस्क. अगेन आई एम नॉट सेइंग इट इज गोइंग टू हैपन, बट द रिस्क इज, देर इज अ रिस्क एवरी ईयर एटलीस्ट सम पीपल विल हैपन कि वो बबल नहीं कर पाए फॉर सम रीजन. दे गॉट ट्रैप्ड इन ए क्वेश्चन और एग्जामिनर उधर से खींच रहा है और वो नहीं दे रहा है. फिर लग रहा है कि 1857 का युद्ध चल रहा है. इसलिए उससे बचना है. प्लीज ट्राई टू एटलीस्ट उसका शुभ आरंभ जो है, शिलान्यास से जो भी है उसका कम से कम 50 मिनट्स टू 60 मिनट्स पे कर दो, सो दैट यू आर अवेयर कि ये काम भी है. कुछ लोग बहुत खुश रहेंगे एग्जाम हॉल में, पेपर सॉल्व करते करते दे आर सो हैप्पी, दे आर फाइंडिंग द पेपर सो इजी दैट दे फॉरगेट कि ओएमआर भी बबल करना है. उसके बाद एग्जामिनर जब आएगा तो एग्जाम इन्विजिलेटर को देखकर याद आता है कि ओएमआर बबल करना था. And then they will come and say, sir, my problem is that I solved the questions. I said, what's the but? And what is the but? I mean, when you grow old, one thing you realize that everything before but is crap. But के बाद ही कहानी शुरू होती है ना? What's your name, young man? चलो ठीक है, तो है ना. So if I say I really like you, Pralay, but तो like you वाला पार्ट को भूल जाना. उसके बाद में जो कहूँगा कहानी वहाँ से शुरू होगी. And if I say that, learn this lesson fast. If life does not teach you, take it from me. So so the guy will say this paper was very easy. I'm always looking for the but statement. I'll wait for 5 minutes कि अब mail आएगा कि अब but वाली बात होगी. I almost attempted every question. है ना? Then he'll say, and I also have a very high accuracy. I'm still waiting. Then the but will come. I say, what's the but? The but says, sir, I actually OMR में गलती हो गई. बाद में I complained to the chief invigilator and they said that they will take necessary action. इन bureaucracy में नहीं फंसना है. Be a bureaucrat, but don't get caught in the bureaucracy. All right? Please don't wait for the last moments. Then please do not have an ego in a familiar question. You will not have an ego in an unfamiliar question. Especially for first timers with history optional. And those who have done masters in history, and you have an art and culture question, which is so tough and so doubtful or ambiguous that UPSC will also release a wrong answer key. Then there will be a quote in the case. Case in the court. So UPSC, so please don't say that I have a master's and PhD in history. So I will definitely solve that art and cultural question, which nobody knows. NIOS does not know, Tamil Nadu State Board does not know, but only UP, I know, don't have that ego in the pro. If it looks too difficult, then we will not have an ego, more applicable in CSAT. Then, as I said, our paper attempting strategy has to be very crisp and clear. If we find papers questioning, if we find questions to be continuously difficult, we'll change the sequence. I recommend going from 100 to 99 to 98 and backwards. But you may follow any sequence. Some people start solving from 50, 51, 52. Some people go from 50 to 49, 48. I recommend 100, 99, 98 backwards. Do things that increase your confidence in the paper. It should not be the case that you have had a tough art and culture, ancient medieval aa gaya, uske baad you're thinking for a smooth ride and then you get environment and ecology questions. Then you're thinking ki ab economy, polity, kuch familiar territory aayega. Then you will get geography, all the questions, if it's not your strong area. And then you find that all the easy questions of polity and economy were in the later part. They started from 50. That can happen, that annually happens. And we will follow the same approach. We will not worry about questions that we have never seen. We will solve them to our best effort basis. Some people are continuously effort. Remember, again, I'm saying you, when you see the paper, at first it will look very unfamiliar. Most of the times, I'm saying 9 out of 10 times, the paper will be very unfamiliar. It will look very, it लगेगा कि ऐसा तो हमने, I have not prepared according to this paper. Remember this is what the chalawa that will happen with you. Then what will happen? When will this paper start looking familiar? The minute you come back home. Then from the whole paper, all the familiar questions will laugh at you and mock at you. कि मैं भी तो छुपा हुआ था, कितनी बार solve किया है तुमने? So go with this mindset that the first feeling largely is going to the paper will look completely unfamiliar. लग रहा था कि कोई और exam का paper आ गया है, या गलत center पे गलत exam के लिए चले गए हो. But then after some time, things will start to sink in. So which is why please do not be an early judge and make up your mind that the paper was very tough, therefore I could not solve it. Don't have stop the voices in the head. Remember, no judgment calls about the paper until 90 minutes. 1.5 घंटे के बाद जो जजमेंट करना है, सारे जज बच्चे बैठे हैं यहाँ पर, 90 मिनट के बाद जजमेंट पास करनी है पेपर पे, प्लीज कर लो, but not before that, at least not in the first 5 minutes. Even if somebody tells you that by looking at the first iteration you will come to know how no, it's not like that. It's simple. A question will have a very twisted options. It will not be like that. So therefore, and lastly, with respect to this is, bachcha log, when you are attempting the paper, please attempt with 100 and 200% energy. Don't appear for the paper in a give up mode, no matter how your preparation is. I repeat, don't give the paper with a give up mode, even if you are tired, even if you feel that your preparation is inadequate. Remember, every year there are people who will study for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 days. They will clear this examination. Why? Because paper ke samay pura, they were able to use 100% of their brain power. So make sure that you are writing the paper with full energy. You know, it is always the size of the fight in the dog that matters, and not the size of the dog in the fight. You'll see a big dog and then that will be mauled by a small, very small puppy. आएगा वो उसको लड़कर चला जाएगा. So it will always be the case that you have to write the paper with full energy. Get your whatever Red Bull या जो भी आपको energy drinks लेने, आप अपना energy drink, but you have to be fully hydrated. Thankfully, you do not have the worst. I mean, though we have global warming, but you are not having the worst summer of all times. These are some of the best summers Delhi has seen. It has been actually much worse. And so you are having one of the best weathers possible that is in Delhi. So you're not having that. Please make yourself you are dehydrated. You should not be low on either water, also nor low on sugars. कोई dieting वाइटिंग लास्ट में नहीं. जितना चॉकलेट खाना है सब कुछ लेकर जा. अगर दिमाग को, if the brain needs, then please take some chocolate. It is all allowed to carry inside the hall. Nothing like that. कि बीच में if you feel that you need a sugar surge to solve the question, please do that. Don't worry about anything else on that day when the game is there. Then next is CSAT में extremely important, single most, no talking between GS and CSAT. Some people, what happens is, it can happen either way. After writing GS, you will always meet a guy who will say, मैंने तो 97 कर लिए हैं, एक गलत हुआ होगा मेरा. मैं हमेशा ऐसे बच्चों से बचता हूँ. मैं बता रहा हूँ, राजेंद्र नगर में there will be people, they will always say, 90, and they will start making predictions from there. कि anybody who has attempted less than 90 is gone. वो आवाज़ें आपको सुनाई देनी वहाँ से शुरू. जो बच्चे ऐसे रहते हैं सालाना, the people they have spent years in prelims, they have not cleared it, and they will always do this. They will go on every floor in Rajendra Nagar कि कितने attempts किए, and the minute you say 87, and what will be 87, it will be so loud that चारों floor पे पता चल जाएगा कि वो आ रहा है. दूसरे फ्लोर पर जाएगा कि कितने सॉल्व किए, है ना, तो मेरा 91 हो. 91 तो ये गुड और बैड, बस 91 हो जाएगा तुम्हें लगता है इतने में. Please, if at all you have a nearby center, you're coming back to Rajendra Nagar, or please don't talk about how many questions you attempted. I'm telling you, remember, it is never over until it is over. I mean both good and bad things. Even if you feel, there could be one thing. One is that you feel you have had an outstanding paper. Then what have you done? You are very happy and you're celebrating early victory, or early celebration of victory is there. Then you meet that chap and he brings you down your confidence level, and now your CSAT is gone. Or what may happen is you feel you have had a terrible paper. Look, your feelings have no root. They are not grounded in reality. Your emotions are not grounded in reality. So you may have that, okay, I had a terrible paper or whatever, and then you may have this feeling. Now somebody will be there. If you keep talking to someone, they will just multiply this feeling. And think from a creator's point of view. Let's say I'm a YouTube influencer or a EdTech teacher and I want views. And if I'm not able to get one, what's the last resort that I will have? Last resort will be if I just create a video with my photo saying that if less than at 85, prepare for 27. अगर ये वीडियो टाइटल के साथ क्लिक करोगे या नहीं? बिल्कुल क्लिक करोगे. इसी पर तो क्लिक करोगे कि 85 से कम अटेम्प्ट वाले ये वीडियो ना देखें. बस उसी में गए. ये वीडियो, this is the last resort that will happen, that is already happening. You are having the worst phase in, the education, whatever coaching thing can happen, that is already happening right now. So you will have this. So there will be, before this video, there will be people who will be doing it. कि 85 से कम में तो मुश्किल start. You do not even know whether the cutoff will be 77 or 97. The cutoff can go anywhere. So please do not talk between the paper. Don't calculate your marks. No seeing answer key. We will also send you a mail that answer key is available. क्लिक करोगे तो एम्प्टी साइट रहेगी, लेकिन भेजेंगे एक मेल जरूर. उसमें ABCD रैंडमली लिख कर डाल देंगे. थोड़ी टेंशन तो हो जाए. नहीं करना है ये काम. और लिखा रहेगा मोस्ट ऑथेंटिक करके रेक्टेंगुलर ब्रेसेस में लिख देंगे. मोस्ट ऑथेंटिक एंड करेक्ट, 100% गारंटी, और ये सब कुछ कर देंगे. नहीं करना है. फोरम से भी हो रहा है तो भी नहीं करना है. कहीं से भी हो रहा है नहीं करना है. और एनीवे राइट नाउ फॉर द जेन जी क्राउड आई एम टोल्ड कि सर ये सब लिखना पड़ता है. मोस्ट ऑथेंटिक और ऑनेस्ट और ब्रूटल, ये सब वर्ड से ये क्लिक ज़्यादा करते हैं. प्लीज़ डोंट सी द आंसर की. Especially, this is especially applicable for CSAT. No ego in the CSAT paper. Those of you who think you are very smart in maths or in engineering, keep your ego aside. Every year, you will see at least 1/10 of every 10th person who is not clearing CSAT is a person who's done his engineering from Tier 1 colleges. I'm not even talking Tier 2, Tier 3. I'm talking about Tier 1 colleges, say 10% students, including from IITs, you will have people flunk. So if you think, don't go with this assessment that I'm the master of that question of PQR, STR sitting around a table. ये मैंने कितने लोगों को टेबल के अराउंड बिठा कर अपने PG में समझा दिया है ये क्वेश्चन, और ये मुझसे नहीं होगा. तो कमीशन knows this is how UPSC papers have always been, that they will put you in a difficult spot in a familiar question. That is what at Forum also we try to replicate. कि we have to identify a question which you feel you know. That's a good paper. Test of a good paper is कि आपको लगना चाहिए, you should have this feeling that you will get this right, and if I'm able to get you wrong, then I've set a good paper. How saddest. But then we are trying to simulate the actual exam paper. This is what we do. You'll have to feel that we have to lure you into a question which looks familiar to you कि इसको तो attempt भी करवाना. So somebody says, what is the goal with this question? The student should not attempt it. No, that's not the goal. The goal is the student should attempt it and get it wrong. That's a trap question. Remember, in the end, civil services prelims will be a test of your decision-making skills. And decision-making skills inherently includes much applicable for CSAT. Which questions not to attempt? We have always said that between quantitative aptitude, numerical ability, and comprehension, the more, I will stick to what I have said, but also make a correction here. The more reliable key will always come from numerical ability or quantitative aptitude. But if at all you go for numerical ability and quantitative quant questions, and if your confidence is going low, with passage of time, when does the confidence go low in CSAT paper? बताओ. एक तो होगा पैसेज में ज़्यादा टाइम, but that's one side. What is the other side? Yes, passage में ज़्यादा time. So this is for people whose strong area may not be, for example, passage. For example, anyway the passage will be written with this idea that there's a huge passage, and then at the end when the person has read it, you ask only one question or two questions, ताकि पूरा time खराब हो उसका for that one question he's reading. But also you will have, so if you're going to take long time in passage, it will create a type of what is called panic one. But a worse panic will be when you are having maths questions, because in passage, what you will have in the end? In the end, you will feel that you know the answer. In passage, you will feel that still brings some positivity to your confidence. Just like in mains, you ask everyone after the mains, immediately after the mains kaisa hua? They will have a very clear picture. 1 month after mains, you ask anyone, तो सर इस पर इंटरव्यू कॉल तो मिनिमम आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग, शायद टॉप 50 रैंक भी आ जाए. और एग्जाम, मेंस एग्जाम के तुरंत बाद बिल्कुल पता होता है कि सर आई लेफ्ट 4 क्वेश्चन इन दिस, 3 इन दिस, इट वाज माय फर्स्ट मेंस, ये गड़बड़ हो गई, वो गड़बड़ हो गई. That is the point. You have to make sure that if you know the student very well, you have to tell him to keep studying for improving on the mains and the gaps. Now, so this is what will happen. You have one side you have the maths portion, and the other side you have English questions. The difference, the two different responses will be there. For English part or comprehension part, even if it will take more time, the negative will be it will take more time. But what will happen is you will feel you know the answer. Now, so that is a different panic, that you will see that I don't have time. But what happens in the maths part, numerical ability and quant part? First is time is gone. And do you also feel you know the answer? You either know or you don't know. So if you don't know, then you are worse in a bad situation. So let us say if you are not the best in quant and numerical ability, we have to do the passages in time. But remember that we have to also solve adequate maths wale questions. Don't be the kid who's coming and saying that, sir, my passages kiya bahut achhe se and I know I'm brilliant in passages. The minute I hear this, my heart sinks because I know what will happen. The student has conveniently ignored all of maths and quant. You have to do that. Solving passages, if at all you feel that you need a boost of, a dose of confidence in the paper, then a very clear-cut advice to you will be that please do this and do it in a limited time frame. Because it will increase your confidence. You will feel ki acha 18 question to ho gaye. But if you are really poor in maths and you have attempted 18 questions and have not been able to solve many of them, let's say we want to solve 5 or 6, then you will have a sinking feeling ki nahi ho raha hai. Because unlike GS paper here, what is the challenge? In GS paper, we know that we can read the question again, interpret it differently and have an answer. And also we know that nearly everybody will be taking an educated and intelligent guess. Here it is about solving. You can either solve or it's not that if you'll go back to it and that PQRST question wala solve ho jayega. Wo kai baar nahi hoga. So which is why decide for yourself what is good. But if you want to increase your confidence, do the passages. If you do passages, do them in the time frame so that you have enough time for quant. All right. So this is all that I wanted to share. And remember that next 10 days, it will be completely about, a battle of nerves. It will completely about, in the end, it is about your confidence and nothing but your confidence. Please have faith in yourself. Please have faith in whatever you have done. Even if we feel wherever our preparation trajectory does not matter, what matters is the size of the fight in the dog. तो जब पेपर लिखने जा रहे हो बच्चों तो बहुत कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ जाना, पेपर 100 and 200% एनर्जी के साथ लिखना. From this class itself, I've seen hundreds of people clear this. From this batch itself, already बहुत सारे बच्चे जो पिछले साल मेंस लिखे हुए, इंटरव्यू भी दिए हुए इस क्लास में भी. I'm not sure why they are in the class, but from this batch, you are already at the apex. You are if there is a pyramid to be drawn, you are already sitting at the apex of the pyramid. You are already the best trained students. I'm saying this, why I have so much faith in the training. I'm saying this because I was seeing a consolidated list, of the toppers, and I was also able to see, with respect to the process, why I have so much faith. So we have FRC, and I was seeing the consolidated list. Now here, a lot of people I know have written the mains exam. A lot of people I know who have appeared for the interview, बहुत selected बच्चे भी लिख रहे हैं SFG. But there, everyone who's writing there has not cleared the prelims. And I was seeing that lot of people, you must have also seen, right? Alward Center or FRC mark करके आता है कभी? So centers में देखोगे तो top 100 में there are several people. And it is the first time ever they will be clearing. So that is what the process that you are having here, the same process is happening there. And we are seeing, and we know that if those people, so here I don't know who's who because everybody is using a screen name. तो नहीं पता रहता है कि कौन सा क्या है. लेकिन जब मैं देख रहा हूँ कि उसी process से so many people in top 100, then I know that the process that we are doing here is a robust one and trust the process. And lastly, it is not going to, 10 days is not going to be easy for you. But then life will not give you things on a platter. When we started the academy, there are two people from the foundation, actually one from the foundation, the other from other. So what happened is, as it happens in a pair of friends, is that usually the girl clears the exam. So it happened. So this lady clears the exam. Of course, does not get IAS that year. Goes into one of the allied services. It does not work out between them for some reason. And I was witnessing this. And since I witness it very closely every year, I sometimes feel like interfering, intruding and giving them some piece of advice, but I know that as a professional mentor, it is not my duty. Even if somebody approaches me, those are solvable problems. But people at that time do not just get the right input. So next year, what happens is so these things does not work out between them. Now next year, when the list comes, they both have ranks separated by less than 10 ranks. Both of them, and both in the Indian Administrative Service. And I'm just obfuscating some of the facts. The only true fact is that they're both under 50 ranks. I'm not telling you the exact, because then sab jaakar jasusi karenge kaun sa bachcha tha, and they're all settled now. So what happened is it does not work out between them. Anyway, next year both of them clear this exam with a gap of, it's a very surprise. And since we knew them, so हम लोगों ने देखा कि अच्छा इसकी ऐसे रैंक है 20 और 30, 20 और 30 for example, they have this rank. So we were चलो ठीक है. Anyway, both of them go to Labasna, and then now they are settled and married to different people. All right, did not work out between them. Normally the calculation for them was, or when they, even if sometime on a side discussion, if it discussed, then they were clear, sir, if both of us are in service, then we'll settle together. That did not happen. Many years later, so this lady comes to the center, and she says that all is settled, you got IAS, you got the cadre you wanted, bilkul first choice mil gaya. And then she asked, but Ayush Sir, tell me, why didn't it work out? I mean, both of us got into the service, but why did that not work out? So I want to tell you what I told her. But look, life will not give you things on a platter. It won't be easy for you. You are entering the most, what is called, the period of the maximum trial, because now the trial is not for knowledge or skills. ये सब हम लोग दिसंबर जनवरी में कर रहे थे, जब आंखें फुली रहती थी तुम्हारी और तुम यहाँ पर आते थे और परेशान रहते थे. I did not sleep all night. Now it will be the game of how strong you are, how much clarity you are having in life, how much clarity you are having in your decisions. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very challenging. But if you truly want it, you will get it. All right. So I told her that did not work out, because when you got into the service and you took everyone's advice, and of course mentor's advice सबसे नीचे होती है, दोस्तों की कूड़ा एडवाइस रहती है सबसे ऊपर, कि तुम्हारा तो अब सिलेक्शन हो गया है, तुम मानव नहीं महामानव बन गए हो, है ना. So she asked me that when your time came to make a decision, what happened is, why it did not work out is, in one line, because you did not fight for it. Because you did not fight for it. So bachcha log, remember this lesson for life, if not for this exam, that if you love something, if you badly want something, agar aapko ye karna hai, then you will have to fight for it. So 10 days, 11 din ki battle abhi baki hai, and we'll meet for mains. All right, chalo, thank you class. And those of you have any doubts, you can stay back, others can leave, and we'll take all the questions, okay?
65% of IS toppers under rank 10 and 20 in CSE 2025 final list have been students of Mains Guidance Program MGP by ForumIAS Academy, including rank 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19. Mains Guidance Program MGP 2026-27. Join Mains Guidance Program, India's most trusted program for mains preparation. To know more about MGP, speak to an IS topper near you or email us at contact@forumias.com.